Hey, welcome to Discovering More. This week we're giving a look ahead because we just wrapped up our Revelation series here at church, but we're diving into a sermon series which I think is going to be really impactful for you and for our congregation. We're talking about identity. I mean, is there something more, on point with where we are right now than people talking about who they are? How do we figure out who we are? Is it by the activities we're in? Is it by the color of our skin? Is it by, whatever I want it to be in my own head? Like, how do we figure out who we are? The interesting thing is we dive into this, and we called our sermon series, I Am Searching. Part of me wanted to delete searching and just call it I Am. Because that's how God reveals himself, the I am. I am who I am. I get to determine who I am. I get to determine reality. That's set apart for God. And in some way, we want to usurp the place of God. We want to be able to say, I am whatever I want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about jumping off of God saying to Moses, I am who I am. Yeah. And boy, do we want to say that about ourselves. We'll define, who we really are. And referencing an article that, that I just found, talking about the fact that in America we tend to want to simplify things and simply identify ourselves by one characteristic that in fact may not be all that really important. And so much attention put on these days on gender, sexual attraction, politics, or whatever it is, that we define ourselves that way, but we're really far more complex than that. And we're jumping off on a book. That book is entitled again,
Who God Says You Are.
Yeah, Who God Says You Are. And he emphasized, you are your body, but not just your body. You are your relationships, but not just your relationships. You are, your history, but not just your history. And so hopefully we're going to give you an opportunity to look at who you are from a number of different angles with a number of different emphases.
Yeah, and in the midst of all of it, seeing how it's God who gets to define us, God who's given us, and we can even say a certain identity as children of God. And that's what Jesus has ultimately done. He's changed it so that whatever else you want to be known by, you can be certain of is that you are a child of God. You're a child of God. No matter where your story was or is heading, you are a child of God. So, yeah, we're going to be looking at relationships, actions, commitments, history, body. Well, today's Ash Wednesday, which is why you're wearing a tie and I'm wearing a sport coat in our Discovering More video. But Ash Wednesday is one of those moments where we reflect on the fact that we're all going to die. So I am a failing thing. But even in the midst of that, we hold to the fact that God has made a claim on this failing body. He's going to restore it. So, I guess as we think about identity, like what do you think people in our community, especially, really struggle with when it comes to trying to find their identity in Christ?
Well, first of all, I think we take cues from the culture, maybe more so than anything, to define ourselves, and it's even subcultures, right? Yeah. So I wonder how many people. Well, if you read the obituaries, one of the number one things, the way people find their identity, is that they're a Packer fan or a Brewers fan or whatever, And I'm definitely into the sports scene, but in the end, that really isn't all that significant, or it shouldn't be anyway, in terms of. It's kind of I call it a shallow sort of understanding of self, and hopefully, I think what a lot of people need to do is go a bit deeper and to explore what is it that they really value, what is it that they really believe in, and then allow that to become their core understanding of who they are.
Yeah, maybe part of it is that our world is so dynamic and confusing and hard to understand. Like, we can't grasp the complexity of the systems that we live. So at some level we desire simplicity.
Yeah.
And we desire, can something be easy for us? But approaching our internal world, that's something that we can look at ourselves, and we can know who we are. And who was it that said, "Know thyself"? It was one of the Greek philosophers.
I think it was.
Right?
I think it was Socrates said that.
Yeah, something like that. Know thyself. And even as we think about love your neighbor as yourself, there's always this angle of, you must know who you are. Yeah, well, in The Lion King always comes to mind. James Earl Jones, you must remember who you are. Yeah. But it's such an important question for us to actually spend time on, and not just give ourselves the shallow answers. I think that's a good thing for us to dwell on. And I hope during this series you'll take time to dwell on who you are, on whose you are, and how Jesus really offers to reshape your life, your identity, and give you something solid and certain in this world. So,
I think that says it all right there. Join us for this series.
Yeah. Well, I hope this is a blessing to you, this series, and please let us know if there's anything you'd like us to address or talk about or work through, or maybe the things that you're learning as you look at your own identity in Christ too. So, blessings to you.